Well, it's time for the heavy hitters, the dedicated streaming devices that command a higher price but offer superior performance, features, flexibility, and more. If you're doing your holiday shopping and you have your heart set on the best of the best, this might be the video you've been waiting for. These are the best high-end streaming devices for 2021. Meet our contenders. So let's talk about what it means to be a high-end streaming device. Generally speaking, this realm consists of devices that normally retail for around or significantly above the $100 mark, although you should definitely keep an eye out for deals in case one of these options goes on sale for far less than the usual asking price. Now, if you've seen our roundups on the best mid-range or best budget choices, you'll know it doesn't take a whole lot of money to secure a perfectly capable streaming device. So these high-end options need to offer something compelling, whether it's the smoothest performance, the most expansive feature set, or support for use cases beyond traditional streaming apps. And so for this roundup, we're taking a look at a couple familiar faces as well as devices that have been updated relatively recently. First up, it's Roku's top-of-the-line Roku Ultra, which normally retails for around $100, although definitely keep an eye out for sales. Now, Roku did not release an update to the Ultra this year, like it did for the Streaming Stick and Express lines, but the 2020 vintage still remains a plenty powerful streaming option here in 2021. And be sure to check out our earlier review for a full evaluation of the 2020 Roku Ultra. Next up is a device that's pretty much gone unchanged for a few years now. It's the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro. Now, these Android TV powered devices have been a crowd favorite ever since they first launched back in 2015. Now, since then, we've seen a couple of updates, including slightly updated internal hardware, new form factors, and improved feature support. And despite the lack of major hardware revisions lately, the Shield TV line remains one of the best and most capable streaming options available. Next up, the most recent addition to the high-end premium streaming device segment is Apple's updated Apple TV 4K, the second generation to bear the 4K name. This version came out earlier this year following several months of ongoing rumors, and its performance did not disappoint. With Apple's TV OS software on board, the second-gen Apple TV 4K broke all sorts of performance records when we reviewed it a while back. And yes, you can check out that video linked down below in the video description as well. On the Fire OS front, we've got a higher-end device that's still a worthy contender years after its release. It's Amazon's Fire TV Cube, and while it has not seen a hardware refresh since 2019, it remains a powerful streaming option that also supports the current version of Fire OS, also known as Fire OS 7. It's got Dolby Vision and HDR10 Plus support, as well as a 6-core CPU and 2 GB of RAM for better performance when juggling between different apps. It also boasts solid hands-free navigation via Amazon's Alexa Assistant thanks to built-in near-field and far-field microphones. It normally retails for around $119.99, but in typical Amazon fashion, you can likely find it for cheaper, especially during the holiday shopping season. And so that's our lineup of high-end streaming devices. So let's see how they stack up, shall we? Hardware specs and features. So what can you get when you invest in a high-end streaming device? Well, generally speaking, you're getting the most comprehensive set of supported features, the latest software, and most powerful hardware. But what does that all look like in chart form? Well, here you go. So you can see how the Roku Ultra, the Shield TV Pro, the Apple TV 4K, and the Fire TV Cube compare as far as internal hardware, storage, and feature sets go. As you might imagine, these devices generally sport hardware that's more than capable of handling streaming apps. It's a big reason why a years-old device like the Shield TV Pro remains a compelling and high-performing option here in 2021. But these are not high-end streaming devices just because they have solid hardware. They also run popular software platforms as well, and we're taking a look at that next. Comparing software. So along with potent hardware, each of these streaming devices also sports solid, well-known software, including Roku OS, Android TV, Apple's TV OS, and Fire OS. Each of these platforms has inherent strengths and weaknesses. Roku, for one, features a user interface that's dependable and easy to pick up and use, but it can also be considered a bit static compared to content-heavy approaches like Android TV and Fire OS. Apple's TV OS, meanwhile, is also fairly understated as far as user interfaces go, but that also helps the Apple TV hardware running it perform that much more smoothly. Each of these platforms has different approaches to serving up your streaming entertainment, and they've each certainly attracted a sizable fan base. So you should definitely take into account which software approach you enjoy most before shelling out for these high-end devices. But how do these streaming devices actually run these platforms? Well, let's find out together. Performance benchmarks. Of course, we can't talk about premium high-end hardware without talking about premium high-end performance, so let's get right into it. If you've caught our other roundups so far, you'll know how this goes. We fire up a series of apps in succession and time how quickly each device is able to run through the gauntlet. The test starts and ends with Netflix to see if the device has enough horsepower to fire it up faster the second time around. That could be a good indicator that a device can juggle back and forth between different streaming apps more efficiently and quickly. And so let's see how these premium devices fared. And honestly, every device on this list can safely be considered fast when it comes to loading a variety of streaming apps. Roku's Ultra keeps its crown as the highest performing dedicated streaming device in Roku's lineup, but the Shield TV Pro and the Fire TV Cube managed to outpace it in these tests. And then there's the Apple TV 4K, which continues to run away with these performance tests. It stormed through every app without breaking a sweat, on its way to an overall score of 34.09 seconds. Honorable mentions. So if you're looking for a premium high-end streaming device, but maybe you're hesitant at the prices on offer here, there are some options. NVIDIA's Shield TV offers a high-performance experience in a cheaper, more compact form factor compared to its sibling, the Shield TV Pro. At $149.99, you're getting great performance, but with less storage space and a lack of USB ports compared to the Pro. And if you absolutely have to have the Apple TV OS experience, but you don't want or need 4K support, there's the Apple TV HD. Now that was launched way back in 2015, but it still offers solid performance in a 1080p only package. And at $149, it is a cheaper option for Apple TV fans. And we should also remind folks that if price is that much of a concern, don't forget our roundup of the top mid-range options. You won't get quite the performance or features on offer within the high-end realm, but the cost savings might be worth it. Wrapping it all up. So there you go, those are our top picks for high-end streaming devices here in 2021. And yes, as with many products of this year, it might be trickier than usual to secure a given device, but if you're on the hunt for premium streaming gear, we'd recommend keeping an eye on these options. Roku's Ultra seems just fine being a top-end streaming device, so you won't find support for extracurricular activities like cloud gaming or running a Plex media server, but as a streaming device, it represents Roku's current top of the line. Judging from our performance benchmarks, it's not exactly light years beyond the Streaming Stick 4K or the Express 4K Plus, but it's still Roku's performance champ, and it comes with added features. The included Ethernet and USB ports give users some improved flexibility. For example, that USB port comes in handy for, say, playing back local media. And yes, it is worth mentioning some of the recent carriage and licensing disputes that Roku's been involved with, so definitely keep an eye out on CoreCuttersNews.com for all the latest. But if you prefer the Roku platform and want to experience it the best way available, the Roku Ultra is an excellent option. For Android TV, the NVIDIA Shield TV Pro remains a potent and flexible choice. Aside from serving up streaming apps with ease, the Shield TV Pro is a multifaceted option, especially for fans of cloud gaming services like NVIDIA's own GeForce Now. And it also makes for a solid Plex media server. Yes, it is among the oldest devices on our list, but the Shield TV Pro is still a great streaming buy. The Apple TV 4K is a beast of a machine when it comes to loading streaming apps. It simply does not break a sweat, even when it's breaking records in our performance testing. It also ties in well to Apple's other services like Fitness Plus, Music, and Arcade. But it's also on the pricey side for something that doesn't quite offer the open-ended flexibility of something like the Shield TV Pro. And several features like Apple's AirPlay standard are available elsewhere for cheaper. Still, if you're well embedded in Apple's various ecosystems and you like a device that effortlessly streams tons of apps, the Apple TV 4K excels. And Amazon's Fire TV Cube is a high-performing gateway to the company's Fire OS platform and would be a good fit for homes that like leveraging Alexa voice commands thanks to its built-in microphones. Regardless, we hope you found this roundup and all of our recent roundups useful. And for those of you busily working on your holiday shopping, definitely keep a close eye on the latest deals and availability. And you can check all that out over at coreguttersnews.com all season long for all the latest on Black Friday and beyond. For now though, thanks for watching, and please consider those like and subscribe buttons down below before you head out. My name is Philip Palermo. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Take care.